Hello, everyone. A warm good afternoon from the city of Chennai to everyone. My name is Lakshmi Vijay Kumar, and I'm going to be your host for today's evening. I welcome you all on behalf of Team Avatar and my Avatar to the Diversity Mahotsav 2023. As we start, a quick few hygiene checks for a seamless virtual experience. Please close all your applications on the computer and log out from your organization's VPN to conserve internet bandwidth. Before we begin, we would like to thank our partners, powered by partner Kellogg Brown and Root Engineering and Construction India Private Limited, our supporting partners Genesis and EPAM Systems India Private Limited, and our outreach partner Madras Chamber of Commerce and Industries. My dear participants, our social media hashtags are hashtag diversity Mahotsav, hashtag celebrating diversity. We request you to post your experiences at Diversity Mahotsav on your SM handles and do not forget to tag us on those posts. I would also like to inform you all that all our Diversity Mahotsav episodes are being live streamed on our YouTube channel. You can watch the Diversity Mahotsav live on YouTube. Do click on the link that is pasted on the chat window. My dear esteemed guests, welcome to the day 4 of Diversity Mahotsav, where the spotlight shines not only on diversity, equity, and inclusion, but on the very essence of what it means to celebrate our human kaleidoscope. The last few days have been unprecedented in this beautiful city of Chennai. Waters have begun to recede now and the sun shines once more. We gather not just to mark the diversity that colors our lives, but to applaud the strength and solidarity that bind us together during these trying times. While the floods might have disrupted our routines, they could not dampen the spirit of inclusivity and the vibrant tapestry of cultures that define the city of Chennai. We thank all our partners, our colleagues, and each and every one for braving the challenges and for being here today to showcase the beauty of diversity and for being the living embodiments of resilience. Diversity Mahotsav, true to its essence, is a celebration of our differences, our collective strength. As we gather together here, we emerge stronger, more resilient, and more together than ever before. So, without much further ado, let's commence this remarkable day again where we all converge, where our hearts connect, where diversity blossoms amidst challenges. Diversity Mahotsav, as many of you know, is a month long festival of sharing, learning, celebrating the uniqueness of every individual, and carrying with us the promise of inclusion into the next year. The Diversity Mahotsav is hosted by myavatar.com, which is the brainchild of Dr. Soundarya Rajesh, founder president of Avatar Group. Dr. Soundarya Rajesh is among India's most prominent leaders in the space of women's workforce participation. Avatar, the social enterprise, was founded by Dr. Soundarya Rajesh, and it's India's only organization that provides both strategy and implementation solutions in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Her work in creating careers for women in the Indian workplace is unparalleled, for which she is fondly referred to as the career doctor. Not only is she among the earliest and the most impactful voices to speak, write, teach, and about gender inclusion, she has also helped hundreds of companies hire thousands of women professionals through Avatar's work. She's a powerful speaker, author, and a very sought after DEI strategist. With that, on behalf of Team Avatar, it's my pleasure and honor to welcome you to the third edition of Day 4 of Diversity Mahotsav. Thank you, my dear participants, for joining in. Today, we have a very, very interesting session. We're going to talk about women in sales. Sales often often we know that sales is often described as some as a men's play, right? And many deals kind of get struck on the in the golf game. So we are going to talk about what is it to be in women's sales, and customer engagement, particularly in sales, is more than playing golf. So, this esteemed panel that we have today with us is going to explore and redefine the conventional perspectives of customer engagement in sales. The discussion will bring women from sales backgrounds to dissect the evolving dynamics of engaging with clients, focusing beyond traditional approaches and emphasizing on the multifaceted strategies for successful customer interactions. The panel will deep dive into the intersection of gender, sales strategies, and customer relationship building, highlighting the unique contributions and challenges that women face today in the sales landscape. We have with us today Bhargavi. Bhargavi is the country HR lead at MSD India. Bhargavi Bhargavi Kakunuri. She comes with more than 10 years of experience in a breadth of HR business partner and HR director roles, which includes corporate, commercial, sales, and supply chain functions. Prior to this, she was the HR director for the supply chain organization of AMA West region, where she focused on prioritizing employee health and safety through the pandemic while strengthening the leadership team's effectiveness to enhance the attraction of top talent during a challenging time. She has also led the HR Operations Center for Excellence during an earlier stint at P&G India, where she provided rich insights into organizational design, HR analytics, employee value proposition, compensation and benefits, and divestiture efforts. DEI for Bhargavi has always been at the forefront on Bhargavi's priorities. As an HR leader, she has executed a vast array of innovative initiatives to improve gender balance and create a culture of inclusion. Our next speaker is Vanita Agarwal, who is the India Digital Head for EPAM Systems. Vanita brings with her over 21 plus years of IT industry experience in digital strategy and transformation, spanning areas of e-commerce, CRM, UI, cloud, AI, and middleware, and so on and so forth. Her role in the past few years has been strategizing with customers and businesses to deliver value via consulting and enterprise level solutions while keeping a pulse of evolution and the trends in the digital space, like headless, omni-channel, and composable solutions. She has worked with key platform players in the market like SAP, Salesforce, Adobe, IBM, and Oracle, and industry leaders like IBM, Accenture, DXC, and Capgemini in the past. She's extremely passionate about technology and she loves to front end with customers to build and deliver strategic solutions and in the process build strong relationships. She has traveled extensively and worked extensively with customers across the globe. Vanita heads the digital engagement practice, which including Salesforce. She's a senior member of the India leadership team. She plays the role of Bangalore site head at for EPAM India. She's based out of Bangalore. Moderating this panel, we have another dynamic person, Veena Mukund, who is the AVP for client servicing at Avatar Group. Veena is a veteran with over 1.5 decades of experience in recruitment, BD, business development, and client engagements at Avatar. In her stint here at Avatar, she has closed senior positions for clients across industry. She now manages the business development for the southern and eastern regions of India. Apart from this, she works closely with organizations in helping them craft suitable second career programs for women. and she has helped them successfully close positions. Her vision in the professional front is to help maximize women to get back to work through the various career comeback programs that Avatar is partnering with various corporate companies. Over to you, Veena.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Lakshmi, for that beautiful introduction. I was just listening to you, without observing anything. I really like the statement that you made. Diversity blossoms amidst challenges. Absolutely, you are right. And today we have two dynamic women leaders. I mean, while I'm talking, I have goosebumps. I have Bhargavi Kakunuri, who is from the HR fraternity, I mean, who have close to 2 decades of work experience in HR, who is an XLRA, pass out. Bhargavi, heard that you are a gold medalist too. Is it right? I mean, somebody told me. Yeah.
Yes.
So, yes. So, congratulations for that. I mean, we are privileged and honored to have you as our panelist today for a very, important topic that Avatar always speaks about women in sales. Another leader, as Lakshmi mentioned, is Vanita Agarwal, again from the business front, who leads customer engagement, who is the India digital head for EPAM systems. And Vanita, you also have 21 22 years of work experience in this field. I'm sure this conversation today is going to be very, very engaging, very interesting. So I'm planning to have this conversation rather in a free flowing manner with no particular order, so we can discuss things, you can share your experiences. Let us not stick on to a specific pattern. Hope you agree with me, Bhargavi and Vanita.
Absolutely, Veena. Looking
Sure,
forward.
Veena. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, quickly, Lakshmi was talking about my profile. So, currently, I lead the sales and business development for Avatar. I started off my career as a recruiter. So, while in recruitment, as we have to talk to clients, we have to talk to, prospective candidates also. The interest for me towards sales, formally started there. I mean, closing a position, or rather a candidate joining an organization, that itself gives us a high, right? So likewise, post that 18 years in the industry at Avatar, have worked with clients like MSD with EPAM, and closing a deal definitely gives us a high, right? I mean, talking to a prospect, and the completing a cycle is like a hooray moment. I mean, totally, I'm sure, I mean, Vanita and Bhargavi will agree with me. So without much of ado, let me get into a few of the questions that we have, prepared for you. But still, let it be as free flowing as possible. I mean, Bhargavi and Vanita. So, my first question is, we are living in a technology-friendly world, and the sales have evolved a lot, and we have some contemporary sales strategies our for people have used. So, Vanita, to you, you are in the industry, you are in the sales function for the past almost 21 years. So, can you please share your personal experiences? You yourself have closed some, great deals working with EPAM and multiple other companies. Can you share your experience, please, Vanita, for the audience to know, how successful and how easy and how tough was this role, and, the various, kind of steps that involved to close a deal, Vanita? If you could please talk about your experience quickly
Sure.
here.
Thank you,
Yes.
Veena.
Thank you. Yeah.
So hi everybody. So my journey, or with client interactions and sales, really started around 2005, and it was a by chance journey. So we traveled to UK for a customer, and then my boss, for some reason, had to come back to India immediately, and there was no replacement for him. So I was kind of elevated to the role that he was playing, and he was playing a role of business development for that client at the client side, while also taking care of a 40, 50 people team engagement being run from India. I was there temporarily, but I was kind of stayed back for almost 2 years. And that is when I realized that my conversations with customer I really enjoyed. I could speak to them and relate to them on their problems and present solutions to them. So while my experience at that time was hardly 5, 6 years, I did well in my job. Within that 2 years, I got two promotions, and I kind of understand that maybe having a lot of client interaction and sales is my calling. While I was very technology, so our sales in the IT world are not like really there are technology sales, right? So that is when I realized that there is a passion that I have for sales. But around that time, 2, 3 years, I did very well. And then I had got married and had a child. So 2 years was a little bit slow for me. But when I joined back, I joined Accenture. And then there again, my first big engagement was I had to go to the US first. Again, convince, there were 2, 3 options for solutions and convince the customer on what I could do. Now, the funny part around
Are you? There
I'm
was
not
a
on mute. Can you guys hear me?
yes. Now
Okay,
we can
now.
hear you. Yes.
Okay, maybe there was a blip. Sorry. So I'm saying that the funny thing which I realized at that time was that some of my Indian counterparts and seniors were not very convinced and on board with the idea of me taking up those roles which came across to me, right? But my onshore counterparts in both cases in the US and the UK, they were very, very supportive. And to some extent, I was under pressure to perform because I had to prove a point. And like people say a lot for women, right, that they have a glass ceiling. In some sense, there was a glass ceiling there as well. But the more I performed, the more I got comfortable. And from then to now, like 2005, 2006 to now in 2023, the perception in India also has largely changed, right? So people are more open to having women leaders do sales. And earlier, there was this constraint. A lot of people used to think, oh, women can't travel. Travel in some sense would always be needed. I mean, if we cut out those 2 black years of Corona, there has not been a time where without really talking to people, you could do sales, right? So everybody kind of assumed, oh, you have a son 2.5 years old. Will you be able to go to the US? I mean, again, my point is that's not a you should not decide for me. You should ask me. It's for me to build my support system. And from then to now, the support system, the mindset of the families or your in laws has largely changed, right? So from then to now, I already see a change. But in my initial years, I had to always convince my seniors on why I could take that role. The second thing, which I think has changed again from then to now, was it was kind of assumed that women are not very technology. Now, my domain was more technology sales. So I had to build solutions. I had to convince them of, it will meet the purpose. And as time passed, now today, you have to go back and say, okay, what's your ROI? What's your value add? But at that time, my biggest challenge was to convince people that I'm as good as the person sitting across the table in technology. For some reason, there was a mindset that, women are not technology enough. And the most horrible thing that everybody kept saying to me is, your child is so young, are you able to travel? I was like, why do you even want to talk about it? I mean, nobody asks anybody, right? How old is your child? I mean, you may come to know from somewhere, but I have never mentioned that as a constraint. Why would you take that? So my second thing was, I mean, one was travel. Second thing was, yes, I'm technical. And then everybody kind of kept hinting that as you grow in the career, you will take a non-technology role. And I was like, again, why? There were so many mindsets and stereotypes in the industry at that time. Not great. But again, by the time I think late 20s, 2010s to 2018, 17, 19, I think the mindset started changing a lot. There were a lot of my friends, very close circle, they are women leaders in sales. Somebody heads the India sales, and Indian customers are really the most complicated to sell to. That's the most challenging thing, right? You would know, Veena. So a lot of my teams or friends did sales in India, which was like, it's a benchmark for you can do sales. So that thing became more and more acceptable. Still, there is, on the topic itself, right? It's not like playing golf. Now, there is again maybe some truth to that women want to do work and come back. Like when they go to offices, they have 100 more things to do, they're multitasking. Again, a pre notion is that a person will not make very strong relationships with the customer. As soon as something is done or she needs to do something, she'll do that and come back. Now, that's not true. To the topic that you had, it's more than playing golf for sure, but you do have to play golf, right? I mean, you can't get away with that. You have to do chit chat on the sides, you have to build a relationship, a little bit on your personal life, about maintaining the respectful distance of, what you can talk about and what not. What I feel now, not to take away anything from all the men who do sales, right? If there is anybody listening in. But what I do feel now is that slowly women have become more and more confident, and they're naturally better conversationalists than men. So from if you are able to let go of the preconceived notions of your travel and the time, you will find that women probably make better and longer lasting relationships with their customers because they're generally more empathetic in nature. It comes naturally. They talk better, they talk more, right? Well, the concept was or notion was a person goes, a woman goes, works and comes back because she has to do so much at home. Maybe I still do that, but still the time that I spend with my customer, and sometimes yes, I go out to make time, to spend time off with those people as well. But the earlier notion that they will not make relationships and they can't do anything outside of work has changed, and I feel girls and women are getting better and better at that. I also feel that women don't stick to a point too much, as in sometimes I've seen some of my male friends getting into some ego hassles with the customer. It's a very sensitive thing trying to work with a customer, right? A lot of people that I work with, they feel they're my customer and they know more than me. In the conversation, they'll somehow try to get an upper hand. And believe me, customer is the king. So they do have an upper hand. But in technology, do they have the upper hand? Not always. I mean, in technology, it's my space, right? I do work for 10, 15, 20 customers at the same time. So one customer would obviously have less experience than I have, all the experience that I bring. But how to maintain that, respect for your knowledge, still pass the message that, boss, I am an expert in my area. Now, I think,
Absolutely.
again, I've managed to do that very well, and it has helped me. And the acceptability of women in sales is now, I think, almost 10 times more than it was when I started in 2005, 2006. That time there were two reasons, right? One, my experience was not a lot. Two, I was always looked at somebody, oh, she will get married, oh, she will take a career break, oh, now she has a small child. I'm passed through all that, but today when I look at the even some of the younger people in my team, they have no constraints. They've sorted, who'll cook in my house, will my husband work from home, will my in-laws take care of my child, or do I want
Yeah.
to have children or not? So all these discussions are up on the table today. So things have improved a lot, and customers have become smarter. They will go with people who can bring value to the conversation.
Oh,
I don't think
yes.
a lot of them have this thing, oh, you're a woman, you can't sell. So it's changed so much for the better now, and more women are getting into this with tremendous results. I've seen women leaders, and when I was my first year in Capgemini, I myself won the sales award because the first year itself I'd closed two very big deals, right? So more and more I'm
Oh,
seeing
yeah.
women getting
Tell me
recognized and
about
them
it.
getting. So I think the journey ahead
That's the
is
reason, Vanita, closing a deal, definitely small, big, medium,
it's
will
it's
give
it's
us
a,
a
it's
high,
a
whether
high. It's a big high. It's a big high for sure. But yeah, so I'll stop there, and then it's just that it's a great journey, and I think there is a lot of future ahead for women leaders in sales. More confident, strong communication skills, and if there's nothing to hold them back today. Really, there isn't. Everybody is super supportive. Your bosses, your family, everything. I really think
thank
sky is the
you.
limit for
Thank you so
women
much. I
in
mean,
sales.
we can I have taken copious notes. I mean, Vanita calls for a detailed, session. Absolutely. The one point that you spoke about, nobody can take decisions for us. You just have to ask, see, this is what I need. And the relationship building part, that's beautifully explained, Vanita. Thank you so much for that. Bhargavi, coming to you, you are in the,
I just wanted to add on a little bit on
yes,
what
please,
Vanita said,
Bhargavi,
Veena.
please. Yeah,
So, in terms of how the evolution of sales skills has happened over the years, at least what I have seen is that like relationship was the core. It still remains the core, but we have seen how you create joint value with the customers has become much more important, which
yeah,
means that gamut of skill sets become more important, right? Things
absolutely.
like how you understand data, how you are technically savvy to understand and make progress, make discussions with them, how you're able to have a commercial mindset, business acumen. So all of these things become a lot more important, along with managing customer relationship. And that sort of also levels the playing field for everybody, because the skill set becomes much broader, right? And I'll share with you one example. One of the female leaders I was working with, they were working with one of the retail partners for us, a big client. And they were they had a relationship, or some the things, they were not going very well. They had a very joint business plan, very ambitious targets for next year. Both the teams were not on the same page on how they want to jointly work together to deliver those targets. So things were not going at the right pace. So this leader had called us in, HR in, and said, let's do a team effectiveness sessions with two teams together. And we had done something called as art of accelerating results through trust with another organization, and did an exercise of walking in each other's shoes to understand, if you were in my shoes, what were you thinking about me? If I were in your shoes, what were you thinking about me, right? So what I mean to say is that, the skill set that's required is tremendously changed, and people have started leveraging multifunctional mindset to approach sales. You take your supply chain partners, your finance partners along with you. Ultimately, they took HR partners also along with them to make sure that they create joint value together. So the skill set definitely has evolved over a
Oh,
period
yes.
of time, in terms of how we are looking at women in sales. Having said that, the truth also remains that, at least in pharma sector, if you will see, 49.5 million people work in the pharma sector. But if you look at how many women work in leadership roles, it's only 11% of women are in leadership roles, right? And if you look at women in sales, and sales is almost half of the jobs in pharma sector today, right? But if you look at how many women actually work in roles, it will be less than that, 5 to 6% hardly, right? So the fact of the matter is also that while the skills are evolving, while we see that it's we have the organizations are becoming more evolved and putting the systems and structures in place, we still have a long way to go into making sure that we bring in more women into the workforce, and also see them at senior leadership positions, Veena.
Oh, yes, absolutely, Bhargavi. It's more of a co-creation, Bhargavi, these days,
Yeah.
taking the opinions of everyone and creating that value chain. Well put, I mean, Bhargavi. The next question to you, Bhargavi, is, I mean, you are in the HR front, I mean, handling a very senior HR position at a leading pharma company, Bhargavi. So while you are interviewing, rather women for various roles, especially for customer roles and customer facing roles and sales roles, are there any specific challenges that the women talk about while they are interviewed for these roles? I mean, we have a leader like Vanita who has grown, with the organization with 21 years of work experience, handling customers, close deals and all. From the HR point of view, what do you say about while interviewing women for sales roles, what are the challenges that they express, rather? Are there any challenges that they talk about, or else could you please share your experience, Bhargavi? Yeah.
Absolutely, Veena. I think in this, if you have seen the implicit bias, the video from Harvard, which talks about, if you think of a leader who's leading sales organization for a multinational company, the picture that comes probably automatically in your head is a man leading the function, right? So that's the kind of gender stereotypes people have in the organization, and they're brought up with certain stereotypes that women may not negotiate well, may not come assertive, may not be confident, they may not work as hard, may not take feedback well, etc. All of these things, when they come up with all of these notions to an interview to recruit a women, uh, the chances are that you're not looking at the right things. And if you look at evidence, and if you look at science, in terms of, do two genders are actually different in terms of their attitudes, abilities, skills to manage, science says that there is literally no difference. And there's tons of research done, right? Everybody has done research about meta-analysis of data on whether there is a difference between two genders if they are negotiating, or if they are confident in meetings, or if they are closing deals, etc. A lot of these data has been studied, and the difference was never found that the gender was making a difference, right? So in that sense,
Absolutely.
skill set is always, it's gender agnostic. The skill set is 100% gender agnostic. Both men and women are equally good at building those skills. There is a wide variation between women, wide variation between men. But if you look at absolute difference between men and women in terms of building those skills or having those skills, I don't think that's the question. But where does the question lie then? When there is no real difference in the skills, why do we not have women at senior leadership positions or women coming into and taking these roles and moving up, right? The question is internal, right? In terms of, have we set up the right organization systems, culture, processes? Have we educated our people internally enough so that they are looking at things differently and not with the lens that they have already learned to see the world with, right? So for me, the question starts with, are we internally being more inclusive, developing leaders who are inclusive, and looking at people with that mindset, right? So for me, it starts with that more than looking at what I want to see in a woman, because I feel they're 100% same as anybody else.
Bhargavi,
Absolutely.
Bhargavi, I'll
Yes,
tell you a
yes,
funny thing,
Vanita.
right?
Yes.
So when I became a leader, and I really started my journey maybe 7, 8 years back as a leader, post which I was leading practices or doing solution architecting roles and all that. One of the recruitment folks reached out to me and saying, "We have to hire a women leader, and we are considering you." And they just put me off. I said, if you want a woman leader and that's the tick mark, and then you're coming to me and you're not really worried about the background and my skills, I don't think it's a great start of the conversation as well. She kind of realized her mistake, but then she had let me known that she has directions from her leadership. It has to be a women hiring. Somehow didn't appreciate that, because at the end of the day, every women leader should bring value at the table and be respected for that. Ticking a box saying I've hired a women leader serves nobody well, really.
Totally, totally. I mean, Bhargavi, it's not only implicit bias, it is implicit bias, explicit bias. So at Avatar, interestingly, as you know, we offer trainings also. So we have a program called Gender Intelligence for Effective Talent Acquisition for the hiring team and the talent acquisition team. When you're hiring, women for organizations, I mean, especially diverse talent pool, of course, when you interview the hiring managers, knowingly, unknowingly have this stereotypical behavior. So we have this program and that's been successful, and we have run it for multiple organizations. I mean, both of you touched upon, very, very interesting facts. I mean, Bhargavi and Vanita. So off late, the trend is, I mean, of course, the diversity, the gender diversity numbers in organizations are, increasing on a, very, steady manner, thanks to the, Avatar and Saramon Best Companies for Women in India study. It's an annual study, and both MSD and EPAM are part of the 100 Best Companies for Women this year. Kudos to the whole team, who worked on it and made it possible. Is it's more about, the work that you do at your respective organization. The numbers speak, the metrics speaks, the data speaks. I mean, Bhargavi, as you mentioned. So kudos to both of you. So there is this trend in organizations, that we are all seeing that hiring women and upskilling them for various sales roles within the organization, to see that a lot of homegrown women leaders or women sales professional within the organization. So out of curiosity, I'm asking both of you, no particular order, do you have any specific program within MSD or within APAM where you hire women for women and upskill them for sales roles or customer engagement roles? Just would like to know. The audience also will be, curious to know about it. No particular, anyone can answer
So
this.
we have a
Yeah,
program which is
Bhargavi.
called a STEP program. I'll just take 1 minute. The intent is for people to become more consulting. So again, we're all technologists in this area of work that we are in the IT, right? So there are programs that we've run specifically for women and for some of our top performers in the organization, not differentiating that only you're a woman or not, and saying that, okay, you have the right skills, and give them a little bit more coaching, a little bit more confidence, and push a lot of those people, especially women, to take those front facing roles. My only worry sometimes still is that sometimes outside world typecasts you. Sometimes it's us that typecast ourselves as well. When you have some conversations like this with my little bit of my junior people who I think are great for sales, support you and organizations can support for sure. And then they can convinced, and they will do good. Some people have done good, some people hopefully will do good. But we have programs, and it's more like giving them confidence, support, a little bit of training of consulting, and a little bit of communication skills, right? What are the boundaries when you speak to people, customers and clients? Because a wrong word here and there can do a lot of damage. But I'm seeing more and more that, again, a trend, and Bhargavi, more trends about women hiring and leaders. But once a woman has children and her child is like, maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, they are very much more open to crossing that, threshold of not being at home that often or needing to travel as needed. And they're more open to taking up those roles. And EPAM is starting to identify such people, such talent, and preparing them and giving them confidence that they will be successful. So, yes, we have something like that.
Oh, that's interesting, Vanita. Would like to, we'll talk about it more, Vanita, in our next one-on-one conversation. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Bhargavi, on to you.
Yeah. So we recently started a program, Veena, called as Women in Sales Program. So with this specific idea to improve the gender diversity ratio amongst our women colleagues within the sales organization specifically. So we started this Women in Sales Program. What we do is we go to campuses. We actually educate women on campuses about the roles that exist, take role models from the company to talk to the women about the career plans that they can have, how they can progress within the organization, to get more women to take up sales as a career path, right? Because as soon as they finish graduation, they look at different career paths, but not many women seem to be taking sales as a career path. So we wanted to go to the root of that and really talk to the women, show them that role models in the organization who really have grown through the organization, and make sales an aspirational career path for them. So we started with our pilot batch. They come in and they go through a sales program. They have mentors, buddies. The leadership team spends time with them to understand, or monthly connects with them to understand what their progress is, how can we support them through their journey, etc. So we started off this year. We plan to continue this year, and to expand the number of colleges we go to, so that we engage more women to take up sales as a career path
Oh, yes. Oh,
option.
yes. Oh, yes, Bhargavi. As a continuation, Bhargavi, one more question. Yours is a sales heavy organization, sales driven industry rather, Bhargavi. So MSD, the pharma, the FMCG and all. So what do you think? How important is adaptability in the rapidly changing context of customer behaviors, customer patterns and all, Bhargavi? So what do you think? What is your opinion here, Bhargavi? So because,
Adaptability,
yes,
absolutely,
yeah.
Veena.
Yeah.
Adaptability is crucial, right? I think if nothing, the pandemic taught us about adaptability in the last, 2 to 3 years that we went through it. Everything that was somehow thought to be face-to-face interactions need to be in the office to make things happen. Nothing can be done remote. Nothing can be done, in a hybrid way. Our notions about everything got really challenged around those 3 years. If nothing, I think one thing that really the mindset shift of everybody has changed after the pandemic on what is possible to be done. And it also meant a lot of adaptability. Not many people were really comfortable using technology to be able to drive the business meetings and decisions, right? But the adaptability was very important during that time. So it also helps them, the flexibility and everything helps them. So in order to make sure that we are reaching our goals, the adaptability becomes very important for us. And staying up to date in terms of the latest skills that are coming through, putting the time, the learning agility to be able to pick up the emerging skills becomes very important in this world, Veena.
Yeah. So thank you so much. I mean, Bhargavi touched upon again, a few very important, points, Bhargavi. Coming back to you, Vanita, you are from the technology front. So this is again, everyone will ask you the question, how technology has helped or enabled to, kind of help the sales boost. I mean, share your experience rather, Vanita. So since you are working in the technology space, asking a question, technology versus sales, how has it impacted? Because we talk about the old old age strategies. I mean, even I'll refer to the door-to-door selling, that people do, right? And of course, relationship is the key, always, whether technology, non-technology, if you're not having that customer focus or that personal touch, as a salesperson, nothing is going to work, because the engagement and the constant business, or more business coming from the client, that will not happen, as per my experience, Vanita. But technology definitely is playing a very critical role here. If you could please
Absolutely.
talk about it, Vanita.
I think Bhargavi kind of alluded to it earlier, right? So
Yeah.
the buzzwords today are AI, and then now, of
Yeah.
course, Gen AI, right? Um, the simulations that you can do, the personifications that you can do today, can are much more, closer to what you would have than before, and the effort needed to get there is lesser, way lesser than what it used to be before. Um, Also, what I think has happened is that the our customers have become more and more technology oriented as well. So earlier, I will not say that they did not know about the domain, but today they are themselves able to talk to some of the partners like platform guys themselves, figure out what is the trend. They can look at all the reports today. They can look at a lot of AI today. So today, when you go to a customer, and again, Bhargavi alluded to that, right? Technology plays a role that everybody is more armed with information. So you cannot go and talk about information or topics which are not relevant and for sure are not going to help you. So only relationships and trying to get something done with the relationship, those days are gone. It has to be a happy mix of what data can you present to that. Now, the customer today, the competition that we are, the field that we play in the IT services, right? There's a huge competition there. So the customer has now started looking at not just whether you are able to do something perfectly, whether you have those skills or not, whether you can portray that, okay, with AI or with analytics or with Gen AI, what you can do. They've also started looking at the value you bring and the
Yeah.
ROI.
Yeah.
So they expect you to again use a lot of technology and AI to say that, okay, this is the first 2 years, you're probably going to spend and spend. This is your capex, this is your opex, but post 2 years and post 3 years, this is your ROI that will start to come in. The last thing which is really affected is that earlier a lot of sales was made purely on increase in profit or increase in sales, increase in revenue, right? Now a softer element of increase in CSAT score, customer experience, all that plays a very big role. We've done digital transformation programs for customers to the tunes of, I don't know, 150 million or so, right? We've done those transformation programs where the key was that from 60% CSAT score or 6 CSAT score over 10, the CSAT score should increase to 8. That was that was how the success was measured. So many things from, again, even earlier in my career, in 2005, 2006, I was doing something of that. It was very result oriented in the terms of sales. Okay, will you get this functionality up and running? Okay, if you can, then fine. Now it is more ROI, it's more experience, and then you have to go prepared with a lot of data. And technology really, really enables us today. There are many tools, and then um, the way that you present all this to the customer, also the customer expects this for sure, and that becomes the differentiation on who wins the actual deal, really. So it's changed quite a bit.
Thank you so much, Vanita, for sharing this, very, very informative. Bhargavi, this is a very, another completely different question to you, Bhargavi. So typically in your industry, it's more about field sales, the medical reps and all. So do you have medical reps within the organization? So do you groom them? Can you talk about, the experience that you have shared with your women medical representatives?
Absolutely.
Have they grown with the organization? If you could please talk, it will be a motivation for more and more women professionals to join the sales front, especially for a pharma and FMCG kind of organization. Your thoughts, please, Bhargavi. Yeah.
Absolutely, Veena. I worked with a couple of organizations earlier also, and this has always been my one of the priority to make sure that I get more women into sales workforce, right? And I, in that sense, I have also know about the challenges they face when they come into the workforce. While skill set is one, there are real challenges when you get into the ground, Veena, when for women to continue to operate in sales, especially the frontline sales workforce. Basic challenges like safety, hygiene, those become the challenges for them, right? Finding a clean washroom in a space where they could when they're working 8 to 10 hours in the field, finding a clean washroom, what is the closest washroom that
Yeah.
is clean enough for them to go and continue their work? Those are the basic things that our people deal with. Safety, I mean, if you have a doctor that you need to we do detailing to doctors, and some doctors are in the evening, you have to go meet them. There could be situations of safety, or vehicle breaks down in the middle of the road, you don't know what to do about it, a lot of these things, right? So I think we need more systemic interventions, and there are startups working in this area, identifying how could we establish the external ecosystem that supports women, right? One is the internal ecosystem, but we also need the external ecosystem that supports women on the right hygiene facilities that are provided. Many startups today work in the space of, there's an app where you can look at which is the closest toilet available in this area, what is the
Yes.
cleanest toilet available in
Very
this area,
pertinent. Yeah.
right?
Very
And
pertinent.
absolutely, and there are many security agencies that also provide 24/7 service, where you could, if your vehicle breaks down or something happens, you could call them and they would respond to you, and they have boots on the ground who could go and respond to you, right? So there's multiple things that are essential for the day to day working for them, right? And then the next level comes in terms of making sure that you get them in, but you also help them thrive in the company. Because sometimes the organizations come with the mindset that I need to hire more women, let me hire in this area one person. I'm saying it is bound to fail. You need a community of people to survive and thrive. It is not possible
Absolutely.
that you just get one person and because we are all said and done. There are the stereotypes, the explicit, implicit bias, unconscious bias that still exists.
Yes.
Many times,
Tell us that. Yeah.
I have faced where people don't look at you in the eye to have the conversation.
Oh,
Right? They
yeah.
will talk to you, the male person sitting beside you. They will refuse to look at you in the eye to have the conversation. I mean, imagine, we go through all of this. So, but we still need to make sure that we have the community and the role models in the organization that can help support the women and bring them up, right? So, it is a gamut of things that we need to work on. It cannot be just, I'll work on getting more women in the organization, won't work. It's the entire ecosystem setup that you need to do is to ensure that they come in and thrive.
Absolutely. No, no, Bhargavi, safety, you touched upon safety and hygiene. Very, very important. While we talk about more and more women, I'm sure, Vanita, you will also agree with this. More and more women taking up sales roles when travel is involved, when people have to travel, safety and hygiene plays a very, important and critical role. If you have the, necessary and the right infrastructure in place, I'm sure, this is going to be a, dream place for women getting into more and more sales roles. And I'm sure, if I'm not wrong, Bhargavi and Vanita, most of the, CEOs of organizations are predominantly from the sales function. If that is, going to be the case, women, more and more women in the sales, your number in the leadership roles and in board position, the number of women in the board position is definitely going to increase, right, Bhargavi and Vanita? I'm sure, corporate Inc. is in the right direction, and organizations like yours are taking the right efforts to making it a reality of having more and more women in the sales front. Manita, one more question before I ask both of you. What are the emerging trends that you are seeing? Information technology from the you are from the services, product services arena. So, any emerging trends? I mean that that we can see, that we are seeing, or we can expect in the future, Vanita, from your experience. Anything that you would like to talk about? Yeah.
I think the customer engagement and the way it used to happen earlier, that itself is the biggest change today.
Okay.
I've in the last few days I've also worked with a lot of small startups who actually brought products which were simply to create an experience over a seamlessly working functionality. But the only focus was that let's say in the insurance sector, I I have an accident in the car. I have to call some number. Somebody else has to, somebody won't pick me up from somebody else I have to call to pick my car up. Somebody else will tell me, okay, these 5 documents you need, and I'll submit it somewhere. Um, Now there is a small startup company which has come with a seamless experience for how do you claim insurance. Now, what done really is that all three, four systems were there as they were. They've integrated them with a nice, seamless experience, same interface, same look and feel, common numbers. Internally, they're all integrating to where they were integrating earlier, right? But the layer of experience has changed. So, like I was saying earlier, the change in the customer engagement has happened because the experience across channels and for everybody. There was a time that experience was only important, let's say, for the end customer, people who are really
Yeah.
using it, right? Now there's a trend in the industry which says everybody is our customer, our employees are our customers, our B2B
Yeah.
people are our B2B contract people are our customers, our end customers, of course, are our end customers. So that's the reason also why you see a lot of growth in the customer engagement and customer experience and sector, and a lot of improvement in use of CRM products and AI products and personalization products in the industry today, because that engagement definition from who you want to engage with and on what channel has now become very broad. On everybody is a customer and all channels should have seamless experience, hence they should be kind of integrated. I think that's the change. That change is continuing to stay, and the next change would definitely be that people will start looking at the actions of what we need to do for bringing better customer experience to maybe come out of Gen AI. Now, a lot of it is gray area to even me today, but I think in, I don't know, 10 years from now or 5 years from now, it's almost like your customer engagement needs would not only be preempted, but the actions be taken by Gen AI as well. So I look forward to that. But yeah, that's the change that is today, and hopefully what is coming in the future.
But out of quickly, Vanita, to you, but whatever you talk about AI, technology development, user experience, but this personal touch, the one-on-one connection that we have with the customer, that is going to be evergreen, right? I mean, Vanita, I mean, unless and otherwise we don't have that. I mean, something is missing. I'm sure, there will be some, maybe to the next level. Maybe at least I think so, because we offer solutions rather, offering solutions. At Avatar, we talk about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belongingness. And talking to a client and then talking to them about, inclusive workplaces, the importance of diversity at workplace. I mean, we customize the products, we co-create with our, and the kind of happiness where we get in building that relationship and building that touch, the personal touch with the customer. That is something,
That can never. That can never till the
absolutely,
time we're
isn't it so,
humans.
Vanita? Yeah.
Till the time we're humans, that personal touch would
Yeah.
always add value. As a,
Yes.
I mean, I'm now. I don't know what to say, right? As a technologist, I want to say no, no. My AI will absolutely, ape the experience and the personalization, and my
Excellent.
human side is saying no, no.
Oh,
That
yeah.
personal touch is still needed,
The
but I
beautiful
think that
blend of
personal,
both the sides,
yeah,
Vanita.
absolutely. I
Excellent,
mean,
excellent.
yeah, the day the machines take over humans, it will be
Yeah,
utter chaos.
absolutely. Thank you. And finally, Bhargavi, we have few questions coming in, but I would like to ask you both any advice for the upcoming women who are aspiring to be, sales professionals. I mean, both of you, no particular order. Anyone. Yeah. Both of you should answer that. Yeah.
Couple of things, Veena, as we talked, I think we talked a lot of these things already, but one is about, when you see, because we've not evolved to a stage where we don't have biases, unconscious biases that don't exist. But it's important that when you see one, you speak up against it. So when you see a microaggression, little people don't look at you when they're talking to you, or I have heard a recent instance of one of the executive director was lady was assumed to be an admin assistant of the person, instead of she was really an executive director supporting that person, right? So these are all come from stereotypes and biases. When you see one, you will need to make sure that you speak up, right? It's very important. It may not be at that point in time. Choose the right time when you have to speak up, but don't be silent. Make sure that you speak up against it, right? Because it will help the other person. The person may not come from an intention of bad place. That person may just not be aware. So it's important that you build that awareness in them, right? And second is, you need to ask for what you want.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everybody will make assumptions about, what is good for you. Like Vanita also mentioned, right?
Yes.
A lot of times when you come back from maternity leave, they think that you want the job that is not so hard, and you just don't want to do that. But oftentimes some of us think that if you're leaving your child at home and coming, you want really the work that really is so good that it's meaningful, and you're spending your time away from the family makes it's so important that it makes you want to make the best use of it, right? it's a diff- but if you don't ask for it, people will assume whatever they want to assume. And also for all the men, it's important to show, be aware, not just be aware and react, but be advocates for all the biases, etc., that you see around. For all the women, be advocates. Those were the
Absolutely.
things.
Thank you,
Good,
Bhargavi.
good.
And I
Okay,
think
Vanita.
there was a session that I attended from this is Facebook lady, right? Cheryl. I'm forgetting her second name now. She's a Facebook CEO. Cheryl Sandberg, right?
Sandberg.
So the raise your hands and speak up stuff, Bhargavi, she kind of kept saying that women in the room don't raise their hands. And in EPAM, we have something as a EPAM, I mean, speak up culture, not just for women, but for everybody. Because, like you said, if you don't speak up, no improvements can happen. It's like customer doesn't give feedback, you can never improve. So for sure, women have to raise their hand. They have to talk. They should know where to reach out for help. That really helps. And my second thing I mean, for me, when you do sales, you win some, you lose some, right? Um, and I think a person has to be supremely positive in sales to still continue, doing what they do after like a regular fit, setbacks, right? 50% you will win, 50% you will lose. So there are times when you spend a lot of time and effort in something and then you edge out, whatever reasons, right? So positivity is a very, very big, I think, trait that anybody who wants to go into sales should have. And third, for sure, is your interpersonal skills. If you do not have patience with people, if you cannot understand what the other person wants, if you do have a lot of ego issues, no, I am the best, that kind of people I don't think can go into sales. People who are, I sometimes say the same for HR also, Bhargavi, that if people are, empathetic, then they can do HR. The same way, for you to understand what the other person wants, keep in mind that the other person is going to give you money. And if after giving you money and what he wants to be done doesn't serve the purpose, it's no point. So when you put them yourself in their shoes, and when you understand and empathize with what they want and what success is for them, and you work accordingly and present a solution, only then you can be a good salesperson. And a person who's done 10 million deal and then lost the customer later is not a good salesperson. But somebody who starts with 1 million, takes it to 10 and then 20, that is a good salesperson. So go with that mindset, and it's an amazing job, gives you, really the kicks when you win something. And I think it always also makes you learn. When you are in sales, everybody's problem, there's no two clients who have the same problem. You continuously evolve in technology area, in the business problem area, your kind of people that you meet. So if you're a people person and very positive, then I think this is a great place for you to
Thank
go.
you so much, Vanita. I think there are a lot of questions in my chat box I'm asking you. So there is one interesting question, for mid-level, sales professional, how can they seek mentors for them to grow with the organization to develop their sales skills? This question is from Janani. So anyone can answer, Bhargavi or Vanita. No particular order. Yeah.
One of the things I think is not to wait for the organization to launch any mentorship programs. Don't wait for somebody to come and tell you, this is the mentorship program, these are the mentors, pick your choice, and then go. Don't wait for that to happen. You
Okay.
be clear on what you want from the mentorship. Is it, do you want to build your skills, or is it a life stage that you're going through where you need more advice, or something else, in personal situation that you're going through where you need advice? Based on that, you have people in the organization who have gone through similar experiences. um, Attend events where you could meet people, and pick the person who you think has gone through and can
Right.
help you with the experience, and set up a connect with them. Go ahead and set up, I want to be your mentee, please give me some time. 98% people will not deny. So my advice is don't wait for mentorship programs to happen.
Yeah, you should. And another interesting question. I think Vanita, you should take this. If I'm a salesperson, one second, I'm taking that question. If I'm a sales professional and on the verge of getting onto the maternity break, what happens to the enterprise deals I was working on that close while I'm on maternity break? For me, customer relation is lost, only to come back to see someone else have taken over. This is one question that comes very often. I mean, Manita, I think you should answer this. Yeah.
Okay, so on the first question, one other thing is like networking is very important, and you don't have to wait. You have a network, create that network, and that will help you. And this is the answer to your next question also,
Yeah.
Veena. See,
Yes.
it is to whoever has asked that question.
Lakshmi
Um,
asked this question. Yeah.
Lakshmi, yeah, Lakshmi. So how does it matter? You are doing 100 deals in your lifetime. In your maternity leave break of what, 6 months, you've lost two connections. First, doesn't matter. Two, if you have a strong network and a strong connect, you can build many more and even get that back. But my point is, as long as the customer has come home, as in you won something, really doesn't matter whether who holds the relationship, right? If you are a good person, he will, or he or she will always kind of respect you, come back to you at some point in time. Somebody else is holding the relationship well, no problem, let him hold that and find new connections, new people to go out to. Anyhow, right? In your, I mean, you change jobs and you have so many changes in your life. You can never think that one customer relationship is so important to me and I should try to stick to that. The
Yeah.
more you broaden yourself, the better it will be for you. And whatever changes happen will anyhow happen, irrespective of you going on maternity leave or not. So don't think
Doesn't
about that.
matter.
Don't constrain yourself. Um, yeah, you'll make many, many more connections later.
That's a promise from a very strong and senior women sales professional, Vanita. Thank you so much for that. We have Shipra asking another question. Shipra, this had very insightful session. Thank you so much, Shipra. I have a question. There is a quote in the book, Sheryl Sandberg's book. We must raise both the ceiling and the floor. How can companies consciously do it apart from getting women in entry level roles? So anyone can answer. Both of you can answer, Bhargavi as well as Vanita. And this will be the last question because we are almost, we have done for with the session 5 o'clock. So both of you can
Yeah.
answer. Yeah,
At least from my experience, Veena, what I have seen is that if you only focus on getting people at the entry level and groom them to get them to senior leadership, it'll take years and years of journey to reach there, to have more women in leadership teams. You need to break and get them in because you need people at role models that people coming into the organization can see and look up to and really get inspired by, right? So, one definitely what I've seen is to really have women at senior leadership positions bring in. Don't wait to groom them and to bring them there. It will take several years. So make sure that you're bringing in already at senior levels so you have role models to look up to.
touched upon, the concept of role models at workplace. Thank you so much, Bhargavi. Vanita, your thoughts?
Yeah, the same, and then strong networks. I feel women today don't bring or build strong networks. The kind of go into the shell. I think that will also help a lot. So yeah, everything that Bhargavi said in this.
Thank you so much. You were a sport, Bhargavi and Vanita. Totally enjoy this conversation. Wish, we could have extended this to another 1 hour, a lot more questions to be asked, to be discussed, because this is a very pertinent topic. And wish that corporating is seeing more and more women professional raising their bar, getting into the sales function, closing deals and reaching the pinnacle of success and getting into the board positions. And I'm sure this is going to be the reality, I mean, soon, Bhargavi. So thank you so much for your valuable time. Look forward to hosting you both in another similar session. Bye bye for the time being. Thank you, Bhargavi and Vanita. And over to you, Lakshmi. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Veena. Thanks a lot, Vanita and Bhargavi. That was a set of passionate for three women professionals out there for you, my dear participants. I think it was straight from the gut. Each one of them speaking from their lived experiences, speaking about the implicit biases and how they overcame their personal challenges. Absolutely thrilling, absolutely insightful and engaging conversation over there. Thanks so much, Bhargavi. Thanks so much, Vanita. And thank you, Veena, for moderating the session so beautifully. It was absolutely wonderful having you all. Thanks a lot, my dear participants, for such a wonderful participation. I think you've been absolutely a wonderful audience. With this, I would like to once again thank our partners, our powered by partner, Kellogg Brown and Root Engineering and Construction India Private Limited, and supporting partners, Genesis EPAM Systems India Private Limited. Our outreach partner, MCCI, Madras Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Please remember our social media hashtags are Diversity Mahotsav, hashtag celebrating diversity. Do post your experience at Diversity Mahotsav on your SM handles with the hashtags. On behalf of Team Avatar, I thank each one of you and welcome you to the next days of Diversity Mahotsav. Please remember, Diversity Mahotsav is between December 1 to 22nd and only during the weekdays between 4 and 5 p.m. As we draw close to the session today, I'm going to request you to take a couple of minutes and provide your valuable feedback on today's session. I request my colleague to bring up the poll. We have four simple questions. The first question says, how would you rate today's session on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the minimum and 5 being the maximum? How would you rate our speaker's session on a scale of 1 to 5? Once again, 1 being the minimum and 5 being the maximum. And is there anything else that you wished that the session today covered in the topic that we spoke about? Please do give your suggestions. And if you would like to suggest a topic that you wish to hear from us during the next few days of Diversity Mahotsav, please do give your suggestion in the text box. And do not forget to give that one biggest takeaway for you that has been during today's session, from today's session. I would like to give a couple of minutes so that all of you participate in the poll. We really, really value our feedback. Please do give your feedback for us to give you an absolutely seamless and a wonderful experience at all at Avatar's events. Okay, thank you so much, my dear audience. So we've come close now. Tomorrow we have another very exciting day tomorrow, which is a topic absolutely close to my heart and many of us at Avatar. We are going to talk about returning from a break for women and the role of upskilling. To speak on this topic, we have some absolutely stellar of a panel. We have Ramya V, who is the Group Product Manager Genesis at Genesis. We have Vishakha Nayak, who's the India lead BPHR and L&D from Genesis. We have Shrija S. Nair, section manager, second vice president at Northern Trust. Sorry, we have Vishakha Nayak, India lead BPHR and L&D at Capco. And to moderate this session, we have Manisha Matthews, senior manager, research and solutions at Avatar. So please do visit myavatar.com to explore various opportunities and activities that celebrate diversity. If you haven't registered at myavatar.com, please do log on to myavatar.com and register now. Browse through the portal to find more jobs that suit all your skill sets, read articles of interest, upskill yourself through various webinars conducted that are exclusively for you. This is Lakshmi Vijay Kumar signing off. Till then, take care and stay safe.